Hey friends, welcome back to my channel and thanks for joining me for another video. I'm doing something a little different as we get closer to Valentine's Day. So this one is going to be more of like a story time, way different from the last video I made. I'm going to be talking about two different things. The first topic is, should engagement ever be a surprise? Lots of opinions there, but I have my own and I don't think it's ever going to change. And how did I know when I wanted to get married? So this is more of a personal one for me. It's been a while now and I have some awesome subscribers. So I feel like you guys should get to know me a little bit more, know my story, and I'm willing to open up a little bit more, as we share more with each other and get to know each other better. So here we go, story time. I'll be answering this first question with a mix from my own personal experience. So the question is, should an engagement ever be a surprise? So typically a man asks a woman for their hand in marriage, if that's the engagement. It is done the other way around sometimes, but not as often. Should a man ever kind of like spring this question on his, or I hope she's the girlfriend. There have been obviously people who have popped the question to someone that they don't, or, are not completely committed to yet, or not even calling each other girlfriend, boyfriend. But let's just assume that these people are in a relationship. So do I ever think that a man should ever just come out with the ring? He's planned an amazing evening. He told her to dress up. He, has candles and roses, and he plays her favorite song, and maybe he even hired a photographer. Maybe he got the family in it. It's a little bit different if he has, the family, and if he has the family involved. I think that's a little bit better. Should you ever just never bring it up to someone and have it be a complete surprise like we all saw in Hollywood growing up? I used to think that women had no idea this was coming, that this was the surprise of her lifetime. It was all secret until that very moment. My thoughts are way different. So first, I will say, I think no matter how much planning you do, for instance, I knew the trip that my husband and I had planned out basically for the engagement. So I knew it was coming. I still felt faint when he got down on one knee. Like, I still didn't see it coming for some reason. I think the moment is just, it kind of expands your world. So even if you're very almost prepared for this and planning, I think it still feels like a surprise. So I don't think that it needs to be a surprise. First off, that's super risky. There's a high chance that she will say no if you've never talked about it with her before. And why risk that? Why risk the emotional crisis that moment can trigger, the financial side, and the long-term effects if you're, with someone who possibly you do see going down the road with. If you make that decision by yourself without involving her, that may get her really upset, and she's just going to decide, I don't think I want to be with someone like this who's not going to involve me in this major life event. Maybe you think you're involving her because you're asking her, but really that begins way before you get down on one knee. She starts making decisions way before that. Like I said, if you want that epic, like grand, like popping the question, that big surprise, no matter how much you plan it, I'm telling you, you're still going to be surprised. It's still going to kind of like knock your socks off. I don't know. There's just something about it. I mean, I still like can't necessarily remember everything just because I feel like my world was like kind of like coming together and then expanding at the same time. Like, I also feel that the engagement is very personal. So, we've all seen the YouTube videos where men have these very public displays where they ask a woman, and If you're not 100% sure about that, like that she's going to enjoy that, don't do that. There are so many reasons why I would not want to be asked in a group setting. I preferred to do it in private, just the two of us. Now, there, like I said earlier, there are people who like involve the family. I think that's really special. I think that's really sweet. That shows that, you know, you're really kind of asking the bride-to-be's family, like you're asking for her hand. You're not just like plowing through, making your own decisions. Okay, she's mine now. You're really involving the community and the whole family. That's an excellent move. But if it's like at a ball game or a coliseum, anything that you have to use a microphone, unless she's really into that, I would say that's a no-go. My engagement, I had the ring fitted, I had kind of picked it, but still I had never seen it, and seeing it was like, whoa, for the first time. I didn't even remember kind of everything that I had chosen for myself, like having it all together and having it in the box and everything. Like, it just hits you. So I think that most women want to be involved in the process, not even all the time picking a ring. The actual engagement, I think, can be more of a surprise. If it's suited for her, then that's even better. People have these like Pinterest like ideas of what they want, and if she's really into that, then yeah, try to do that. Try to make sure that she's ready, that she feels good, she looks good. I think that can be a surprise, but the actual decision of two people hand in hand in holy matrimony, that is not one person's decision. That's a mutual decision. And you need to involve her in that before you go out, scout out locations, before you're investing in a ring. Don't let those things distract you from what you're really doing. Don't involve yourself too much in the traditions of marriage and engagement, or else, you know, you're going to forget the real reason why you want to get married and why you want to get married to that specific person. There needs to be communication. There needs to be conversations. If you're part of a church, there's premarital counseling. You need to discuss what your future looks like together. Are kids something, and like how quickly do you want to start trying for kids? If you have kids, what is that going to look like? Is it going to be a single income family with a stay-at-home mom? How many kids? What type of home do you want to live in? What type of insurance plans are you guys going to be getting? Retirement plans, like what does your future really look like? Because you can watch the commercials, and social media is full of crazy weddings and engagements, and everything looks beautiful. But if you really focus on that stuff and not the person, you're really getting yourself into trouble. Look at me. This is supposed to be a romantic video, and I'm already warning you against certain things, but I really just want to drive home the message that it's sweet and romantic, but you want to make sure that you're doing this with the right person. So, second topic. When did I know that I wanted to get married? There was a specific time, actually. I was actually watching Pride and Prejudice, the movie, and there was just something about the message of that movie that just brought me a lot of clarity. It's just very honest about marriage, and I just felt like, yes, now was so much about marriage is about timing. And I was at a time in my life, and I still currently am, with a person that I saw myself growing with, that we were going to grow together. We had a plan. We were very marriage minded. We still are, but even from the beginning, we had conversations about what our marriage was going to look like, what our life after marriage was going to look like. We actually did wait to move in together after marriage, which I suggest because there is evidence of people who cohabitate together typically before marriage or an engagement typically don't last as long or are in as happy relationships as people who wait. This was something that happened in my life where it had to do with the person, my husband. It had to do with where I was in my life. It had to do, of course, with attraction. It had to do with what we both wanted, what we both aspired, what we were both aspiring to do. I think that timing is incredibly important. If you have any doubts about, is there anyone else out there? Do I want to do something different with my life? Is there a path? Is there a different path that I want to take? It doesn't have to involve a hypothetical romantic relationship or another person. It could be moving across the country and fulfilling a dream that doesn't involve, a future husband or wife. So those things really need to be worked out. And if you do have a dream, you need to talk to your partner about that before they do become your fiance or your wife or your husband. I was definitely nervous about the big decision, finally coming to this big decision, but I am the type of person where I will go through every bad scenario before the event and I'll have my answer worked out by the end. So by the time the actual event comes, I have gone through every bad scenario, bad situation that could possibly come. And so usually I'm, calm as a clam. That's how it went. So by the time we had to sign our wedding papers, a lot of people don't know that you have to sign your wedding papers before the ceremony. So by the time I signed my wedding papers, I was pretty nonchalant about it. I had kind of thought about everything. I had time the night before. I was up, but by the daytime, I knew exactly what I was going to do and why I wanted to do it. And so I had a lot of clarity. And so that brought me a lot of peace. I think I was also at a good age, like that sweet spot in your late 20s where you're not too young to not have a lot of experience, but you're not too old to be completely set in your ways. You're kind of at a time in your life where you're ready to make a big change. And so if that involves another person, then, you're willing to, I was willing to compromise a lot. And I was also willing to work hard for something that I really wanted in life. Not to say that if it happens too early, a lot of times people who get married early, that can be really good sign that those people are marriage minded. Those people have traditional values. They really center marriage, and they usually come from families who have parents who are still together. Typically, people who get married early stay together for longer. But personally, I think that if I had gotten married too early in life, then I just think, I didn't know my husband at the time early in my life, so that couldn't have happened. But even then, I think that having the experience that I have now, doing my education and living different places, I really didn't have too many doubts going into the actual role of being someone's wife and accommodating things and, moving for, someone else's job or things like that, things that married people do. So I think overall in marriage, you need to, before you get married, you should be whole as a person, be fulfilled of the person that you are, even without your fiance or your, future wife, future husband. And you want to have your standards, your boundaries, all of those things, the things that are very important to you, and stay yourself. But I think you should also be open-minded and willing to accommodate and work together with that person. Being open-minded is the best thing to be when you're about to seriously go on a roller coaster ride in life with this person. Like I said earlier in the engagement questions, don't get too caught up with, you know, all the frills and everything like that that come with this. It's a serious decision, and you have to take it incredibly seriously. It can be the best thing that you ever did. It can be the best decision that you made in your life. But you always have to understand what you're doing and why you're making these decisions. Even if there's, you know, just pure romance, of course you need to be in love with that person. But you also have to have good communication. You have to be compassionate. It's good to find a kind person. And it's even better to find someone, if you're willing to be accommodating to someone, you know, that other person should be as well. So thanks for making it through my video. I hope that you found some of what I had to share interesting. If you liked this format, then let me know. I'm so willing to make more story times, open up a little bit more. If you want me to make more content, please like and subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much. Bye.